Welcome to my session on adding documentation and asset search capabilities to PAM. Thank you for joining me today. Here is the agenda. First of all, I'm going to give you a little bit of context, describing the capabilities of PAM, followed by the problem statement and my objectives and proposed solution for this particular problem. And then I'm going to tell you about the features that I have implemented in this prototype. I'm calling it a prototype because it's not the final version. There are lots of things that can be improved. And finally, I'm going to give you a demo. It will illustrate the value added to PAM by this particular applications, web applications that I've created. So let's get started. Here is just a brief description on what PAM does. First of all, it's a lightweight process engine supporting business process model and notation 2.0 and case management model and notation. And it provides a web-based authoring environment called Business Central, which allows you to create and manage all your assets, including business processes, business rules, data objects, etc., etc. And all these assets that you created using Business Central are saved in PAM's Git repository. It provides you with an execution server for deploying and testing business processes and their assets. And last but not least, it provides you with a Swagger UI to interact with execution server and Business Central APIs. So it serves both as an interactive tool and also as a documentation tool for our APIs. Now, here is the problem statement. The customers want to use PAM for both documentation and execution purposes. Right? They want their PAM projects to be a single source of truth. Imagine you have to keep your documentation separate for PAM, say in a Word document. And every time you modify your PAM project, you have to modify your documentation. And it's a lot of manual work and error-prone. And over time, I'm sure that, the two will diverge. And you think that you are deploying a particular project with this kind of documentation in your work document. Actually, you're not. So it's a dangerous thing as well. And the problem is that PAM is not designed as a documentation tool. It's designed as an execution engine, business process execution engine. And since the previous version of PAM, which is called BPMS, it provided some sort of metadata capability which you can add to your assets. But unfortunately, the search facility never worked. And in version 7, they removed the search button altogether. Right? But customers want a powerful search capability. Well, you will see why we need that in the demo. Like for a very small project, just consisting of maybe 2 or 3 business processes, several business rules, etc., it may not be an issue. But imagine when you have a project of tens of business processes, business rules, etc. When I ask you a question like, which particular business process uses a particular calls a particular REST API, then you'll be scratching your head. You don't want to go through like 40, 50 of these business processes to find out exactly which one is the one, right? And my objectives are, first of all, I want to provide the documentation search capability in a non-intrusive way to PAM, meaning that I don't need you to actually modify PAM. And the second is I don't want to change in any way on how you use Business Central or your development workflow using PAM. So they will stay exactly the same as before. And first of all, this is just a quick prototype for proof of concept, and additional improvements will come later in future iterations. And this is how I propose to solve that particular issue. First of all, you see that you have PAM here, and I have my web application here. You see that the important thing is this Git integration. I mentioned earlier that all the assets you created in Business Central is actually saved in the Git repository of PAM. So it comes natural that in order to get all the information from from your projects, I need to integrate with the Git repository on your Business Central. And I'm going to build an application which allows you to actually access it on the internet, for example, as a web application, and you can click on a button, it will generate documentation on a particular project. And that is not all. Like, that does not solve the search issue. So what I also allow you to do is allow you to actually click another button, and you create a set of JSON documents which you can import into Kibana and Elasticsearch. So you probably know this already. Elasticsearch is a full text search and analytics engine, and Kibana is the front end for Elasticsearch. So you can, once you imported all this JSON documentation, you can ask lots of questions using the Kibana front end or user interface. The features I implemented so far, first of all, as I said earlier, PAM already provide you to flexibility to enter metadata in each one of your assets. So what I have added is that I allow you to actually use markdown, which is a markup language, to provide your metadata to define your business projects. Like you can use all these tables, lists, etc., whatever you can find in markdown. For those who are familiar with GitHub, you probably know that all these readme.mb file, they're all written in the markdown language. And as I said earlier, like I provide you with a one-click solution to generate the documentation for a particular project, and another click to generate all these JSON documents which you can import into Elasticsearch. At this stage, the importing process is manual. You just copy those JSON documents and put it into Elasticsearch. I'll show you how that is done in the demo. And the search is relying on this power of the Elasticsearch Kibana full text search capability, which you will discover in the demo. Now let's get into the demo itself. I'll just stop this presentation. I shall show you the demo in part 2. Thank you for watching.